darkness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it, and I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring. My whole life I just wanted.
But you know something? I would like for you to address this issue. This may be an allegation that they worship an owl and they make sacrifices. Because you made the statement,
Well,
that within these secret societies, there's rituals that take place. So if there's any
right.
truth or reality to that, please give me some clarification.
Well, you bring up one of the defining characteristics of Bohemian Grove. What you will find is the 40-foot owl, gigantic, I think it's a stone owl, 40-foot owl that is there, that it has a kind of an altar there. There is the kind of altar. And what they do is they do the ritual associated with Bohemian Grove, which is the cremation of care in this ceremony. And it involves, I don't know if it's elaborate pyrotechnics, but pyrotechnics, because from what I understand in my research, they have all these figures come out and they enact the ceremony. And then there is this sort of, I don't know if it's fireworks, but this sort of thunderbolt or some kind of, the drawing that I've seen was almost like a meteor coming in to hit care and then turn, destroy care, get, put care, put care to fire, and the end of the ceremony itself. So that's the main ceremony that's associated with Bohemian Grove, is the cremation of care, right? Or as they call it, the cremation or the end of dull care, cremating dull care, as they call it. Getting rid of that in the world, so to speak.
Would you say that there's any validity that sacrifices possibly being human beings take place? Is that a possibility, or is that just a fallacy?
I don't know. That part I have not heard of.
Okay.
I have not heard of that.
Okay.
At least in research I've done, I haven't heard of anything like that. So,
So
no,
when we talk
aware of
about,
that.
you know what, that's just something I read, and that is an allegation. And so I would say the people at Bohemian Grove, are they gathering to look out for the better interests of the people, or just a selective few? And why?
Well, again, I think that's another valid point that comes up. And the best way that I would describe something like Bohemian Grove, and I'll state this for the other secret society that I'll talk about, or at least the other major one that I'll talk about, which is the Bilderberg group. But you have to understand how I define them is basically that these are networks. If you're going to get a job, people tell you got a network. And you hear the term networking all the time. Networking, trying to get somewhere, trying to hook up with people, trying to interface with people. That aspect. Well, these are the ultimate form of networks, right? This is beyond this old boy network, right? Because this is a gathering of what would be called the elites, what would be called the upper crust, what would be called the top tier, controversial as that might say to call them the top tier of society. People would say they're not top tier, really. But financially, in terms of power, economically, politically, socially, they are the top tier of the society. although perhaps they shouldn't be. I would say that. But when you see, when you have gatherings of the elites, the top, then I think it's always natural to be wary and suspicious of that, because these are people that, one, look out for their own self-interest, and basically a lot of us look out for our own self-interest. We have to in this world, but the wealthy especially look out for their self-interest. They're not altruists, right? The people that go to Bohemian Grove are not altruists. They're not people that are trying to be egalitarian. They're people that are basically trying.
You know what? I did not know. I don't know what happened. But he's back. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Oh, I know what happened.
As soon as I said,
it's the government, my brother. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I have no comment on that.
Yes, sir.
I'll just call it a technical glitch.
But
anytime you have a confluence of the rich, the powerful, and the upper crust, then you must, if you are someone who is working class, middle class, poor, homeless even, you should be, and you need to be suspicious, because they aren't looking out for you. They're looking out for themselves and their interest, and the interest of, to their interest, the maintaining of power economically, politically, and socially.
Wouldn't you say that these people have massive control over what is broadcast in the news media, whether it be paper publication, or computer publication, or television, or radio, that they have tremendous power to alter what people think, because most people are not critical thinkers?
Well, there may be, and there are certainly, in the case of the next group that we'll examine, representatives of the media that do, when I say representatives of the media, I don't mean reporters. The press are not allowed. It's not just women that aren't allowed to Bohemian Grove. The press and media, meaning journalists and reporters, they're not allowed either. So they can't go anywhere near. I hear there were some reporters that tried sneaking in to Bohemian Grove, but they got kicked out.
I think Alex Jones tried to sneak. Alex Jones used to do InfoWars. I think he tried to sneak in, which he's buried now, man.
So reportedly, reportedly Alex Jones is the one that captured video of the cremation of care ceremony. Right, he put out a video. So he supposedly snuck into Bohemian Grove and said that he had, I guess, waited for a while. He was on a show called Decoded, which I think was on the History Network or History Channel, and he had been interviewed by the team on the show that were looking to get into Bohemian Grove, right? They were investigating Bohemian Grove, looking to get into it. And so he had stated that, he had snuck in and said he was with, I think, the Texas delegation or something like that, but and managed to capture it and get out of there. But I mean, you do have Alex Jones and I guess his story of sneaking into Bohemian Grove and capturing the cremation of care ceremony.
Yes.
But they had to be aware, if Alex didn't indeed do that, they knew he was there.
You know,
there's no way that he would secretly been able to do that. They knew he was there.
Now you say, I want to go. You know what? Is there anything else before we go to the Bilderbergers that the people should know about Bohemian Grove? that
So
you didn't say? Is there anything else that you know what about that's very
Bilderberg,
important
yeah, Bilderberg Group.
about the information you put out about Bohemian Grove
Is
that
there?
people should know?
I would say that the last thing I would note about Bohemian Grove is amongst the activities and events they have are talks and panels. And those are probably about the most important aspect in regards to Bohemian Grove. Because the whole point of being at a place like Bohemian Grove is you have all of these politicians, economic, uh, sort of captains of industry to a certain extent, and
Mm-hmm.
others, some entertainers, in fact,
Mm-hmm.
that come there. And the whole point is that it's off the record, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
whole point of a place like Bohemian Grove is it's like the third characteristic of secret societies that I mentioned. It's private discussions, right? The whole point is it relates to a point that's known as, or a aspect known as, the Chatham House rules. So
What
Chatham
is the
House rules
problem?
are in
What is
effect.
that?
That goes from the 1920s. The Chatham House rules is basically a sort of approach where you come to an event and you can take in the information that's given by the people doing presentations and panels and whatever kind of events,
Mm-hmm.
and you can use it yourself if you so choose. I mean, you'll avail of it and it's fine. But you
Mm-hmm.
can't credit this person at the event. You can't talk about who brought this up, who made this panel, who made this talk, who gave that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point. The whole point is these talks, these panels, these discussions are completely off the table, off the record, and completely away from prying eyes and ears.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
part of the appeal to the power brokers and the upper crust and the elites of attending these events. No
Yeah.
pesky reporters, no
Mm-hmm.
pesky news cameras, and other kinds of, you know, people
Mm-hmm.
who are looking to find out what's going on. You can kind of get in this, kind of beautiful area in Northern California, all these beautiful redwood trees,
Mm-hmm.
and sit back. You know, I'm sure they've got all kinds of beer there, all kinds of nice, all kinds of great food,
Mm-hmm.
and have these discussions, and not have to
Mm-hmm.
worry about what the general public thinks,
Yes.
or the media thinks,
Mm-hmm. You
or anyone
excuse me.
else thinks.
You got a question in the chat room, and you know what they would like. David Cost would like to know: Does the Bohemian Grove condone slash approve of spiritual control?
Oh, is that a question, or
Yes, question.
is it a statement?
It's a question. He wants to know if they approve or condone of spiritual
Okay.
control.
I don't know what he considers to be control. I know like that is Bohemian Grove is, and I'll just take it from what I, not so much just what I know, but what I can state
Mm-hmm.
authoritatively. They get, I think, the most important part of secular
Mm-hmm.
than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
It's about, so I think the importance is in regards to the impact to not only the political system in certain ways in terms of policy, but also in regards to economic policy to a certain extent. I think that's the important aspect of control.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, I don't know and I can't speak on. I think somebody else who maybe is uh, looked into certain other aspects of Bohemian Grove might
Mm-hmm.
speak to that.
Okay, and you know something? Can you
That I don't
explain?
know
Can you
and I can't
explain
say.
to Can you explain to people what are the Bilderberg? What are the Bilderberg? Who are the Bilderbergers? What are they? What is their mission? What is their rituals? I don't even know if they have rituals, but if you could
Well,
explain
well,
what is I know Henry Kissinger and I think Hillary Clinton. I'm not sure if Bill Clinton sat on the board of the Bilderbergers, but if you can explain, just start us from point A and on up. Who are they?
the Bilderberg Group, as it's known, it's really called and has what is known as the Bilderberg Conference every year. It started in 1954, which is several years after the end of World War II, right? It's nearly 10 years after it, right? Because the war ended in 1945 and the Bilderberg Group started in 1954. And it was named after the hotel where they had the first conference at, which is the Bilderberg Hotel in Holland. I think the real brainchild of the Bilderberg Group was a Polish politician by the name of Joseph Rettinger. And he was the one who was trying to promote the idea or, promulgate U.S.-European cooperation, especially after the war.
Excuse me, we got a caller.
Rettinger had...
We got a caller. Go ahead. Yellow.
Okay.
Yes. Hello. Yes. Right now, we're doing a show of talking about the New World Order. Do you have like a question for the guests? Oh, what is it all about? It is about, we're talking about the New World Order and about conspiracies and things that are real, that are going on in the suppression of the people. Okay, so thank you. Let me get back to the show. I got to get back because you don't have a question. Okay. All right. So she wanted to know was a caller that wanted to know what the show was about. And the show was about a New World Order system being set up, the Bilderbergers and Bohemian Grove.
Actually, I'm right. Well, I'm actually discussing secret society. So
yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. That was my understanding about what the show was about.
Yeah, so, that's what we.
Yeah. I can't really.
So you know what? Going back to what I said, can you start from ground? What are the build? You know what? Because I thought the caller, they wanted information, but the thing is, they didn't have a question. They wanted to just know what is this about. But you just gave clarification, and thank you. What are the Bilderbergers? What are they about? And who are some of the members?
Well, okay. Well, the Bilderberg Group, as it's known, has a event that happens every year. I think they missed 1 year due to a scandal. But the Bilderberg Group puts on what is known as the Bilderberg, also known as the Bilderberg Conference. And that's held for about 3 days in the summer, either late spring or summer. And the Bilderberg Conference is held in numerous countries around the world.
Yes.
It was founded in 1954.
Yes.
In Holland. And the name comes from the hotel where they had the first original conference, the Bilderberg Hotel, right? Okay. So the idea for the Bilderbergs came from an individual by the name of Joseph Rettinger, who is a Dutch politician. I'm sorry, a Polish politician. Sorry.
Okay.
And to stress European cooperation. So he wants, I think that's for it, Atlanticism is another one, sort of kind of Atlantic. Rettinger had talked about his idea with Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands,
Okay.
right? And it was Prince Bernhard who helped make this conference happen.
Mm-hmm.
He helped set it up and basically put his imprimatur to the conference.
Mm-hmm.
He attended the conference in its early years, right?
Mm-hmm. And so
And so
what is their
the
mission?
Bilderberg conference
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
is held every summer, a different year.
Okay. I'm listening to you. The transmission. You know what? You know what? Because these are satellites that are beaming us, and it's very, very interesting. You know what? And you know what? Even if we lose transmission, I'm going to have him back on. Because right now it's not because what he's saying. You know what? This is something that the masses just don't understand because a lot of people in the masses they don't read and they're not critical thinkers. So you know what? He's back now. Go ahead.
Um,
I was just
well,
complimenting. I was
anyway,
just
as I was
complimenting
saying,
you. Mm-hmm.
well, as I mentioned before, the Bilderberg conference has become infamous because it is, as I mentioned in my criteria or my definition of secret societies,
Mm-hmm.
it is known for its secrecy,
Yes.
extremely secret, very
Yeah.
high security.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, not unlike Bohemian Grove, they keep out the press. So there are definitely no reporters that cover this event at
Yes.
all. And
Mm-hmm.
those that try to sneak in or try to get anywhere near it are going to be um, certainly kicked out and arrested. And
Yes.
some get arrested even if they come there to cover it outside. It's quite interesting. Or at
Wow.
least detained by customs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's usually in a different country every year, right? So that's what you've got to look at in regards to the Bilderberg Group. And
Mm-hmm.
again, in this conference draws the again the top individuals in the fields of politics and finance and business in general, and usually in that elite aspect and media to some extent. But
Mm-hmm.
the select media figures that do go to the Bilderberg Group conference cannot report about it. They're there as guests, so they cannot talk about it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who attends the conference, again, Chatham House rules. You cannot discuss what went on in the conference. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot talk about who did what presentation or what panel or what have you. Again, cannot talk about it.
Well,
That's so.
I would
Well,
like
there are
to,
some media figures
I would like to know
that
from
are
you.
invited.
I would like to know from you what is the mission? What is the mission statement of the Bilderbergers? Is it to
Again,
enhance
the
people's
Bilderberg.
lives, or is
Yeah,
it they
it's
don't
the
have that much money,
Bilderberg.
or is it to suppress people? Or is it to
Um,
benefit the rich and powerful?
well, um, Well, I think one aspect, as I mentioned before, it's a gathering. It started out really as a way to cement U.S. and European nations, a sort of Atlanticism or Atlantic approach, right?
Oh,
Closer ties between the United States and Europe, countries in Europe, right?
mhm.
And so I think it's kind of moved on to other kinds of discussions and other kinds of focus. I think on a lot more global events, a lot of other kinds of issues, problems, and details relating to geopolitics and the worlds of economics and
Mhm.
business approach,
Mhm.
right? So I think that's largely what I think it's about. I mean, I think that's largely what it has become. It started off cementing U.S. and European ties, and I think it's become more of this kind of global event where you're dealing with issues and aspects globally that are of an interest to the movers and shakers. So I think what it's become known for is becoming a place where political talent can be sort of spotted and slightly nourished.
Oh, but Obama, let me say this real quick. Obama, when he came out, got his first job from Henry Kissinger. I'm talking about first political job, real political job. He was tapped by Henry Kissinger, who was, I don't know if he's a member of the Bilderbergers, but like you're right. When you're talking about it,
yeah.
what I'm really trying to add, what I'm really trying to ask you is, are they working towards the benefit of the masses of people that are downtrodden and lost? Or the elite?
Well,